Have you ever wondered why your prayers feel like they're hitting a ceiling made of glass, while the miracles you read about in ancient texts feel like they belong to a completely different reality? A reality you were somehow locked out of before you even learned to speak? There was a prayer, a sequence of words so potent that it didn't just ask for intervention, it commanded reality itself to bend. And before every single miracle, before every healing, before every moment when the physical world surrendered to something beyond it, this prayer was spoken. Not the prayers you were taught in buildings with steeples, not the begging, the pleading, the bargaining with an external deity who may or may not be listening. This was different. This was the key that turned in the lock between the Pleroma and this prison realm. And they stopped teaching it the moment they realized it would make you too powerful to control. You were not supposed to remember this. The Archontic forces that govern the architecture of this reality understood that if humanity rediscovered the original invocation, the one that Jesus himself used to collapse the barrier between the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of matter, their entire system of control would dissolve like salt in water. So they buried it. They rewrote the texts. They mistranslated the Aramaic. They turned a weapon of reality-bending power into a passive ritual of worship, and they watched as generation after generation knelt in powerlessness, wondering why the miracles stopped. But you are reading these words right now, because somewhere in the geometry of your soul, you already know this prayer. You have always known it. It's woven into the fabric of your divine blueprint, placed there before you descended into this realm, before you agreed to forget, before the veil was drawn across your eyes. The reason your life has felt like a sequence of initiations disguised as suffering is because you are being prepared to remember. Every betrayal, every loss, every night you spent staring at the ceiling, wondering if you were losing your mind, was not random. It was the monad's curriculum, and you are almost at the end of it. The prayer Jesus used was not a prayer to God. It was a prayer as God. And that distinction is everything. In the Gnostic cosmology, the one they erased from your Sunday schools and your history books, Jesus was not the son of an external creator deity. He was an aeon, a fractal expression of the monad, the undivided source of all consciousness. He came into this Archontic simulation not to worship the demiurge, the false god of matter, but to show humanity how to remember their own divine authority. Every miracle he performed was not a favor granted by something outside of him. It was the natural result of standing in his true identity, speaking from the throne of the Christos consciousness, and commanding the holographic matrix to obey. And if you have been drawn to this information, if you have spent years feeling like you don't belong here, like you are wearing a costume made of flesh and playing a character in a story that was written by someone else, it is because you are cut from the same cloth. You are not here to beg the demiurge for scraps. You are here to remember that you are a fragment of the Pleroma itself, and temporarily inhabiting a realm of illusion. And the moment you speak from that remembering, reality has no choice but to respond. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were supposed to do something extraordinary with your life, but every time you tried, the world seemed to conspire against you? Not in small ways, in devastating ways. Relationships that imploded at the worst possible moment. Finances that collapsed right when you were about to take the leap. Health crises that appeared out of nowhere. opportunities that evaporated the second you reached for them. You probably thought you were cursed. You probably thought you were being punished. But what if I told you that those were not punishments at all? What if those were the archons, the parasitic intelligences that feed on human fear and limitation, recognizing you as a threat and doing everything in their power to keep you asleep? Because here is what they know, and you are just starting to remember. You did not come here to survive. You came here to shatter the illusion. And the prayer that Jesus used, the one they erased, is the sonic key that unlocks that capacity within you. The first sign that you are one of the ones selected for this remembering is the feeling of alienation. Not just loneliness, not just introversion, but a bone-deep sense that you are a foreigner in this world, that everyone else seems to know the rules of a game you were never taught, that you are watching human life from behind a pane of glass. You have probably felt this since childhood. You have probably tried to fix it, to become more normal, to fit in, to numb it with substances or relationships or achievement, but it never goes away. That is because it is not a wound, it is a signal. It is your soul reminding you that you do not originate from this realm, that you are a spark of the Pleroma, that volunteered to descend into the lower densities, into the domain of the demiurge, to carry a frequency that this reality cannot manufacture on its own. And if you are feeling that recognition rising in your chest right now, if something ancient and electric is moving through your body as you hear these words, then do something that might seem strange, but is actually a transmission of agreement. Pause for 1 second and let the algorithm know that you are part of this mission. The act of pressing like and subscribe is not about me. It is about marking yourself in the field. About signaling to the intelligence that governs this platform that this information needs to reach the others who are waking up. It is a frequency action, and it matters more than you think. The second sign is Archontic interference. This is the phenomenon that most people call bad luck or self-sabotage, but it is neither. It is targeted suppression. The Archons are thought forms, egregores, non-physical entities that exist in the lower astral planes and feed on the energy of fear, shame, guilt, and despair. They are not all powerful. They are parasites, but they are intelligent, and they have spent millennia studying human consciousness, learning exactly which buttons to push, which memories to trigger, which voices to whisper in the space between your thoughts. And when you are someone who carries the blueprint for awakening, someone who has the capacity to remember the prayer and use it, they will throw everything at you. They will send people into your life who betray you at precisely the moment it will hurt the most. They will engineer financial collapse right when you are about to step into your power. They will flood your mind with thoughts of worthlessness, thoughts that feel so real, you believe they are your own. But here is the secret. The more interference you experience, the more confirmation you have that you are on the right path. They do not waste energy on people who are no threat to their system. They only attack those who are about to break through. The third sign is the call of the deep. This is harder to describe because it does not come through language. It comes through longing. It is the feeling you get when you look at the stars and something in you aches to go home. It is the sensation that rises in your chest when you are alone in nature, and for just a moment the veil thins and you remember something you cannot name. It is the pull you feel toward ancient texts, toward mystery schools, toward esoteric knowledge, even when you have no rational reason to be interested. That is not curiosity. That is your higher self, the part of you that exists outside of time, reaching back into this timeline and pulling you toward the remembering. It is the monad calling you back to itself, and the prayer that Jesus used is the bridge between where you are and where that call is coming from. So, what is the prayer? What are the words that were so dangerous they had to be erased from history? It is not complicated. It is not in Latin. It is not hidden in a monastery. It is hidden in plain sight, in the Lord's Prayer. But the version you were taught has been weaponized against you. The version they gave you is a prayer of submission. The version Jesus actually used is a prayer of assumption. Let me show you the difference. When Jesus stood before Lazarus, dead in the tomb for 4 days, he did not beg God to raise him. He did not plead. He did not ask. The Gospel of John says he looked up and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." And then he commanded, "Lazarus, come out." Not a request, a command. And reality obeyed. That phrase, "I thank you that you have heard me," is the key. It is spoken in the past tense. He is not asking for something to happen. He is thanking the field for something that has already happened in the realm of pure potential, in the Pleroma. And he is collapsing that potential into the material plane through the act of speaking. This is not faith. This is gnosis. This is knowing. The prayer, the real prayer, has 3 movements: recognition, reception, sealing. And it must be spoken from the place inside you that knows it is not separate from the source. You are not praying to the monad. You are praying as the monad. Recognition is the act of acknowledging that the thing you desire, the healing, the breakthrough, the miracle, already exists in the field of infinite possibility. You are not creating it. You are selecting it. You close your eyes and you speak, not from your fear, not from your doubt, but from the part of you that is already standing in the Pleroma, and you say, "I see it. It is done. It already exists in the mind of God, and I am that mind." Reception is the act of pulling that reality into your timeline. You breathe it in. You feel it as if it has already happened. You let your body respond to the truth of it. You speak into the silence. "I receive it now, not tomorrow, not when I am worthy. Now, because I am a fractal of the source, and what the source dreams, I embody." Sealing is the act of closing the circuit, of locking the miracle into form. You declare it with the authority of the Christos, the Anointed One, the one who knows their identity. You say, "It is finished. The Word is made flesh. The kingdom of heaven has collapsed into the kingdom of earth. Lo, and I walk in the proof of it." And then you let it go. You do not beg. You do not repeat. You do not check to see if it worked. You walk as if it has already happened, because in the realm of consciousness it has. If that just shifted something in your body, if you felt a click, a recognition, a sudden knowing that you have been preparing for this your entire life, then mark this moment. Press like. Subscribe. Not because it helps a channel grow, because it sends a ripple through the morphic field and activates the next person who needs to hear this. You are not a passive consumer of information. You are a node in a network of awakening, and every action you take either amplifies the signal or dilutes it. Choose amplification. Now let me tell you what happens in the aftermath. Because this is not a metaphor, that this is not a visualization exercise. This is a technology, and it produces results in the material world. In the first 24 hours after you speak this prayer from the place of true gnosis, you will notice synchronicities, numbers, songs, conversations, things that should be random but are clearly not. This is the field responding. This is the simulation acknowledging that you have shifted your frequency, and it is recalibrating the hologram around your new state of being. Within 3 days, you will experience resistance. This is the Archons realizing that you have accessed something you were not supposed to access, and they will send interference. Old fears will resurface. People from your past will suddenly contact you with drama. You will feel an almost unbearable urge to doubt and to dismiss what you have done as wishful thinking. Do not engage. Do not defend. Simply return to the knowing. Simply whisper to yourself, "It is finished," and watch the interference dissolve. Within 7 days, the miracle will begin to manifest in the physical. It will not always look the way you expected. The universe is more creative than your imagination, but it will come. A door will open. A person will appear. A solution will present itself. And you will know, beyond any doubt, that you did not just ask for something. You commanded reality, and reality bowed. This is not blasphemy. This is not arrogance. This is the entire point of the incarnation of the Christos. Jesus did not come to be worshipped. He came to show you what you are capable of when you stop pretending to be small. He came to shatter the lie that you are separate from the divine, that you need an intermediary, that you are powerless in the face of matter. He came to remind you that you are a God who forgot, and the moment you remember, the game changes. They stopped teaching this prayer because a population that knows how to bend reality cannot be controlled. They cannot be taxed into submission. They cannot be frightened into compliance. They cannot be sold the illusion that they need saving by an external force. And so the prayer was buried, mistranslated, turned into a ritual of passivity, and the miracles stopped. Not because God stopped listening, but because humanity stopped speaking as God. But the veil is thinning now. The Archontic system is fracturing, and there is a reason you are here. Reading these words, even feeling the electric hum of recognition in your chest, you are not here by accident. You are here because you are one of the ones who agreed before you were born to come into the densest part of the illusion and remember how to shatter it from the inside. You are here because the monad is calling its fragments home, and the prayer is the sonic key that unlocks the door. So let me ask you one more time. Are you ready to stop begging and start commanding? Are you ready to speak the words that collapse the distance between heaven and earth, between potential and form, between who you were told you are and who you actually are? Because the moment you say yes, the moment you step into the recognition that you are not praying to the divine, but as the divine, everything changes. The miracles that seem impossible from the perspective of the limited self become inevitable from the perspective of the Christos. And you will look back on this moment, on this transmission, and you will realize that it was not information you stumbled upon. It was a key you had been searching for across lifetimes. And the door it unlocks is the one you have been standing in front of your entire life. If you are one of the ones who feels this in your bones, if you know that you were born for this, then let the field know. Like and subscribe, not as a hollow gesture, as a declaration, as a way of telling the intelligence that governs this reality that you are no longer hiding, that you are stepping into your mission, that you are ready to remember the prayer and use it. And then go and speak it, not from your fear, not from your lack, but from the place inside you that has always known, the place that is not touched by the archons, not dimmed by the demiurge, not fooled by the illusion, the place that is pure Pleroma, pure light, pure knowing. Say it out loud. I see it. I receive it. It is finished. And then watch as the kingdom of heaven collapses into your life, not as a distant promise, but as a present reality. Because that is what you are. That is what you have always been. And the moment you remember, the miracles begin. Not because you asked, but because you commanded. And reality, the hologram, the matrix, the simulation, has no choice but to obey the voice of the one who knows who they are. This is the prayer they stopped teaching. This is the key they tried to bury. And this is the moment you take it back.